Welcome back. Hi, everybody. Nice to see you. Oh, kidoki. What a weekend. We had a little bit of everything. We had week 1 of the NFL. That was a lot of fun. I did a lot of NFL watching. That's what I did. I watched a lot of NFL. Lachlan Cross, 957 Cruise FM in Edmonton. He joins us today. Week 1 of the NFL was great. I spent the entire day on the couch yesterday. Couldn't wait for the NFL to come back. Really enjoyed that. Followed the election of Pierre Poilievere as the conservative leader of this country. He's the leader of the Conservative Party in this country. So we're going to get to that. Ray Rout's going to drop by. He's our sports director, big NFL guy. We're going to talk about odds, how he cashed in if he didn't. So if you had a good weekend in the NFL, you probably listened to Ray, but he's going to drop by a little later on. So we got that going for us today. We're going to talk about strip joints today as a couple. Is that ever a good idea? I've got an example I'd like to share with you. Yeah. Strip joints as a couple. The braless trend seems to be going well. Seems it's a big thing right now. I don't know if you know this, the braless trend. And for some reason, there are some men that have. I didn't know that until a trend. Well, it's a trend. It's a trend. Everybody's like, all the ladies are free.
Is there a place I should go?
No, I think you just type in braless trend to any kind of device that you have on social media or in the old Google machine, and it'll be like, boom, here's the braless trend. Oh, yeah. And then the way is being led by some very, very brave, courageous braless women. I'd like to say hello, and we'll acknowledge that today, too. That'll be a lot of fun.
Whatever makes you comfortable, in my opinion. I mean, we can be gross about it because we're men. Mm-hmm. But obviously, I think that's the way we should handle this. If you choose, if you're of a female persuasion, mm-hmm. and you choose to wear a bra, that should be your decision. If you choose not to wear a bra, that should be your decision as well.
Hundo. Yeah. We shouldn't be weighing in on the decisions that anybody makes with how they want to dress. Women, men, children, emus.
I don't give a shit. I don't care.
Those cute little monkeys that wear the sweater vests. I'm not gonna talk about the cute little capuchin monkey in a sweater vest. Remember the IKEA monkey? I didn't comment on the clothing either.
I do have a problem with scarves on men, though.
You're not a scarf
if it's not winter.
Really?
I'll judge you.
Especially if it's not winter. Yeah, there's a lot of guys like scarf's one of those things that hides stuff. It's like wearing black. It's why we're black. It's slimming. Scarf's same thing. It's like you got to hide the double chin. You wear a scarf, or you wear a turtleneck, that kind of stuff. But I do understand what you're saying.
That's interesting that you mentioned that, because the people that I have known in the past of men who wore scarves were bigger dudes. I didn't even think of that until now.
That's the thing. You got to hide the chins, all the other chins that you've accumulated over your life from having snacks and not moving and being sedentary. No, you're good. So anyway, we're going to get to that. The Queen's funeral procession started today in Glasgow, Scotland, Edinburgh,
really?
Scotland.
You can't tell by tuning on the fucking TV. Oh my God. I can't watch. Stop watching CBC.
Well, just like 12 more days. It's egregious, is it not?
It is.
Like we'll get to it in a minute, but it's egregious. There's a lot of fucking royal stuff going on. Yeah, it's to the point where it's like, yeah, we get it. We don't need to be involved in how this whole thing works, who's doing it, why they're doing it. We get the tradition and all that stuff, but we don't need to know all this stuff. We're good. We're good. I'm full of the royals. I'm good. Some other news would be fine, right? Like I don't know what's going on anywhere. All I know is what's going on in Glasgow, Edinburgh, England, and wherever else the Queen's crown touched over the past 70 years of her reign. So anyway, I agree. I don't think that's enough. But her son, Prince Andrew, maybe had the worst day. Maybe even the worse than the Queen's death, the day that she died. Today was worse for him, and we've got video, and we'll show you why. It's never good when you hide and you're a total pedophile and you pay out this woman who you had sex with when she was a minor, and you don't come out of your house for a couple of years. And then when you do, and the entire world is watching you, you should probably expect some heckling. And that happened today, but it was bizarre. Good. Before we get to Pierre Poilievere, which is where we're going to start, and then we'll get into the other stuff. I want to say, obviously, the stuff with Imgren this weekend, not something that we could foresee. We dealt with it on the website. We dealt with it in a couple of posts, and out of due respect to the process that everybody involved is in, and not wanting to mess with that, we're obviously not going to be talking about it. We've removed him from our socials, just something that needed to be done. And we don't need to spend a lot of time talking about anything in terms of what the allegations are towards him, the involvement in any platform he was on, not just ours, but anybody else's. No way people can see this stuff coming. We've dealt with it. We've taken a hard line when it comes to the people involved and how to deal with this properly, and being accountable for being part of the solution. And we'll continue to respect the process. But that's pretty much all we can say about that today, Locke.
Well, and I will say this too. Just knowing I'm not that involved in the day-to-day operations of the Dean Blundell podcast network, but occasionally I'm privy to the odd conversation about like backroom stuff. Very often, like very few, like not very often at all, but occasionally something will creep its way into my zeitgeist. I'll jump on early when there's a conversation happening. I'll catch something. Let's just say this. There's been a reason why Ryan hasn't been on this podcast for quite some time. We'll just leave it at that.
Yes. We take that seriously, privately, publicly, all that stuff. And we took it seriously a while ago. Yeah. But the extenuating circumstances that are involved in what he's in and around, really nothing to do with us. What is something to do with us is the fact that we've acknowledged it, we understand it, and we let the entire process play out on behalf of the people who have been hurt. If they were hurt, on behalf of everybody involved, it's just pure respect for the process. And we don't want to indemnify ourselves. We don't want to insert ourselves in the process. We've addressed it as all the other MSM outlets, whether it's CP24, the Star, the Sun.
He was on like 10 or 15 different channels on a regular basis. Are they all guilty of what he's guilty of because they were associated with him? No, I was saying this to Dean on the weekend too. And this isn't trying to escape blame here for our involvement, but we had John McAfee on.
Mm-hmm. We had Tom Marazzo on, the guy who started the convoy, one of the guys who started the convoy. It was a conversation.
Does that automatically make us?
No, and that's another conversation we'll have another time in regards to other things. But bottom line is that, it's a shitty thing. And there are people that are involved in that part of it and nothing to do with us, as much as it's got nothing to do with anybody else who ever talked to him. And it's not ours to deal with, but it is ours to acknowledge. And to acknowledge, obviously, doing the right thing. If there are victims here that should be taken care of. But we can't get involved in the process. So we're not going to be involved in the process. We're going to deal with it and put the stuff that we need to put on Front Street. And we're going to do that as part of what we do all the time, right? The thing that we do every day, whether it's on the podcast or through the blog, is we have conversations. We offer opinion, but we don't hurt people. And so, or at least we really try not to. So we've addressed those mistakes. We've addressed the mistakes of others, even though we didn't have to. We'll continue to advocate for the right things and do our very best to be accountable for those. And, but again, just out of respect for the process, not something we can do. Yeah. So that's, again, all we can really say about that. And we don't foresee us, unless it is a newsworthy story, we don't see ourselves taking part in trying to become part of the story. Like it's got nothing to do with us. We don't want to sensationalize things. We don't want to turn them into something where it puts anybody at risk. So again, that's all we can say about it. And we wish, hope that everybody that is involved in this in a negative way and has been negatively impacted gets relief. So that's the only thing that we really care about.
Can I make a quick mention of that that John McAfee Netflix thing?
Have you seen it?
I haven't. I'm watching it. I'm 40 minutes into the first episode. It's on Netflix, called Running with the Devil. Yeah. Is there more than one episode?
I think there's a couple episodes.
Like 4?
If I'm not mistaken. I don't know.
Holy shit.
Or it's a really long one.
So good.
It's so good, dude. I watched the whole thing, and I'm trying to remember if there were other episodes.
Yeah.
But it was it's an amazing fucking story. Like McAfee is that. it was like the libertarian before there were libertarians, and he literally thought he had paid enough in taxes. What's that?
Libertarian? Is that what you call that? So you like to poo on people if you're a libertarian. Okay.
But it was like there was shit in there I didn't know about McAfee, and we've interviewed John McAfee. And one of the things that came up about McAfee, which I thought was fascinating, is he was clean and doing yoga, helping people get off drugs and alcohol for like 20 years. And it was like 10, 15 years ago, he just snapped. He decided to start drinking again, and he was going to live his life, and he was going to go. He was just going to go do shit with the money that he had, with the notoriety that he had, and it's fucking intense. Like, you know, the end, especially at the end, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody. Running with the Devil, the world of the wild world of John McAfee, which you can get on Netflix. But if you haven't seen this, I would highly encourage you to watch it, because it's got so many different narratives about so many different things that he's been accused of. Some real, some who knows. Yeah. Like there's really you don't ever really find out about anything. And then there's a big cliffhanger at the end. Again, I don't want to ruin it for you, but there are rumors that he is indeed not dead, which I don't believe. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's because at the end of the movie, one of the ladies who used to take part in the poop hammock activities was like, I got the phone call the other day, and I'm like, holy shit. So anyway, you watch it, but there's a narrative that's floating. You have to watch it. It's fucking unbelievable.
You know what? And I don't want to get too far in the weeds here because we got lots to deal with, but I will say this. It's interesting for me to be watching this just based on what I'm going through in my personal life. I was alluding to it on Friday when I was drunk on the podcast. And it's just interesting that all this stuff has been happening lately. And it's hard for me to wrap my head around this, but I think there are people out there that are just not good people. And you're going to run into them occasionally. And what not good people are really good at sometimes is convincing people they're actually okay.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what I'm sort of struggling with right now is that, right? And sort of the embarrassment of being fooled, right?
Yeah. Being snowed.
Yeah. Because I consider myself, I don't consider myself a very smart man, but I consider myself a fairly intuitive individual, and I like to think that I'm a good judge of character. And then when you're proven wrong, boy, I got to tell you this though.
What's that?
There's 3 or 4 times in my life where my wife has pulled me aside and said, that is not a good person. Like after meeting them for like 10 minutes. And I'm like, oh, what are you talking about? No. Hey, he's a little weird, but no. And then it turns out that no, she was bang on. She's done that to me like 3 or 4 times now.
Yeah. Well, and that's always the hard thing. Dude, that's different. That's like familial. You have relationships, your wife at a dinner party, mutual friends and stuff. But when it comes to doing this kind of job, like McAfee's a great example. Tom Marazzo, a great example. Some other recent great examples of when you're interviewing somebody who people don't like or did something wrong, or when you're talking to somebody someone doesn't like or gets a bad vibe from. It is impossible to figure that stuff out with anybody because everybody misrepresents themselves when they put themselves forward, right? And that's one of the things that we talk about all the time. We talk about the fact that people just fucking tell you that this is who I am, and every action says the opposite. And that's the person that you're talking about. You're talking about that person that presents himself as something, but really deep down, they're just bad people. It is impossible. Like the guilt by association when it comes to interviewing people or people you talk to on Twitter or the individuals that you hang out with, where someone's like, I had a negative experience with that person. This is what they did. You should not be their friend. And you're like, oh, but I haven't had that same experience. So why would I port your experience over to me? And they're like, well, the signs are there. And you're like, okay, well, I'll try and figure it out as I go. But that's the world we live in, is like the guilt by association now when it comes to you talking to people, you interviewing people, specifically here. When you interact with people, they say you're amplifying people. And it's literally a fucking problem to the extent that all we see on Twitter, all we see on social media is the attempt for people to say, oh, that guy interacts with a bad person. And we don't know where the measuring stick is or the scales of ethics when it comes to, like, how do you know that fucking person's a bad person? Maybe you guys just fucking hated each other. Maybe that person made a mistake. Maybe that person had a fucking momentary lapse of judgment. It doesn't make them a bad person, and it doesn't mean that people can't interact with bad people, specifically if they're trying to figure out what that bad person is all about or if they are a bad person. But it's fucking amazing to me that people will take that scarlet letter of someone that you don't like, and they'll take something that they did and they'll try and turn that around and spin it into a, hey, listen, I'm the moral authority here, and you shouldn't be hanging around with those people. And that springboards into the Pierre Poilievere stuff, right? Like, if you like anything, case in point, Pierre Poilievere just won the CPC election last night, the Conservative Party of Canada, and won rightfully. Dude won. Ran a great campaign. He harnessed the right people. He went after the right influencers. He had a great game plan when it came to taking over the Conservative Party. Not getting elected as a prime minister, but when it came to taking over. And, you know, all the things that we've seen him fear-mongering and reaching out to people that others go, well, you should never court that vote. Well, who fucking says? Like, as an objective commentary, you've never talked to the people he's trying to court. Sure, they all share these similar values, which I don't share. But the reason why he won yesterday or on the weekend, in my opinion, is because he courted people who others have deemed fringe, minority. Like, if the Conservative Party put an eggplant with a Canadian flag tied upside down, Canadian flag carved in the front of it, and on the back it just screamed freedom, carved freedom into the back, that eggplant would be the Conservative Party of Canada's leader today, not Pierre Poilievere. But Pierre Poilievere did exactly what he had to do. And it was fascinating because after he won, obviously everybody's sharing their opinions of him, including myself. I think, you know, courting angry votes, I think rage farming, I think being duplicitous was a problem. And I obviously shared that opinion. But there's a bunch of stuff going on here that nobody's paying attention to when it comes to this cancel culture we live in of, you shouldn't talk to that person. This is what all these people are all about. Wait a second.
Yes.
Not everybody in that wants Pierre Poilievere to be the prime minister is racist, is homophobic, is a Nazi. Yeah. Like, sure. Did he court and make available his party? Sure. You know why he did that? He took out the PPC. He fucking wiped out that extremist party by courting that vote. And so he got that parchment of the political voting public back that he wanted. The extremists.
He's unified the far right of the Conservative Party, and it's a strategy.
Yeah. But
and it's one that worked for him.
Totally. And we'll get to what it represents in a second. But where it gets dangerous is now that he's leader of the Conservative Party, you're going to watch all that Anglo-Saxon talk, the freedom talk, all that shit. He's going to continue to get on freedom. But he is going to generalize and say things where he sounds very Trudeau-esque. Case in point. First tweet he puts out, it's a retweet of the Toronto Sun, who absolutely actively are owned by a conservative hedge fund out of the States. He says, we'll restore Canada's promise in a country where it doesn't matter who you love or what your last name is. I don't know what the last name part is, but whatever. A country where the dreamer, the farmer, the worker, the entrepreneur, the survivor, the one who gets knocked down but keeps getting up and keeps going can achieve their purpose. That is fucking brilliant to put out the day after you win an election.
Dude, I keep saying this. You can disagree with him. I'm worried about him becoming the next leader because I'm thinking he might. And I keep saying this. This guy's smart. He has taken what worked for MAGA down in the States, and he's using that in Canada, and he will make less mistakes because he's a lot smarter than Trump. Mm-hmm. And it might just work. Can I present my hold your nose theory on the next election?
Yeah, please, because you touched on something. We talk all the time. This might be a shock to people. We talk on the phone like, how you doing? Nice to see you. Good. What are you doing? Oh, I'm driving home. Want to FaceTime? Sure. I don't mind FaceTiming while I drive. It's totally allowed in Alberta. That's the one thing that I can't, because it's on a fucking thing. Alberta's a very different province.
I can multitask. I was drinking a beer and smoking at the same time too.
But I'd love for you to share it because he catered to the people whose values he wanted them to get him elected so he could get into the seat that he's in right now. But, touching on real anger here, and there is a lot of real anger across this country that goes beyond the borders of politics.
Well, and the thing that bothers me about where we're at right now isn't guys like Pierre PP taking control of the Conservative Party. That doesn't bother me. What bothers me is where we're at politically as a whole. And I'll explain by giving you some numbers that I am completely pulling out of my ass, and everybody is going to go, you're an idiot. But I'm going to use the numbers to highlight my point, which I think it actually might be a point. So what we have in the country is essentially now we have two parties. Like, anybody who votes for the NDP is crazy. So we should just remove them from the whole process anyway, right? That was me trying to piss the NDP crowd off. Did it work? Okay, so I'm going to ignore the NDPs. I'm going to try not to be a dick. Yeah, but let's ignore the NDP and the coalition and just suggest that Justin Trudeau, old JT, is hanging on to power by a thread in Canada, which he is. It's by a thread. In 2025, which gives PP a little bit of time to establish his brand or make his mistakes, whatever happens, we're going to be going to the polls in 2 years. Okay? Now, for the sake of easy math, I know that it's a little bit more, and I have a feeling that actually it's going to be a lot more this next election. But let's say that only 50% of the population votes. So you got 50% of 38 million people going to the polls in Canada to vote for the next leader of the country.
If you're lucky, yes.
If you're lucky. 15% are going to be voting for Pierre Poilievere because they think he actually might do a decent job. Now, let's keep judgment out of it. There is going to be 15%. And again, I'm making these fucking numbers up, but I think they might actually represent a pretty close to reality what might happen. So 15% are going to go in and go, yes, this is my guy. And then on the other side of that, the other extreme, which is an extreme, and you need to admit that, there's going to be 15% of the liberals, that very progressive part of the country that doesn't get triggered by him speaking or his virtue signaling. And they're going to go, Justin's my man. I love his hair and he dresses well. What a great guy. And they have no problem voting for Justin Trudeau. Okay? So now, what do you have left? You have 20% of the population, and this is what's going to decide it. And 20% of the population is going to walk into that high school and stand behind that shield, and they're going to hold their nose for one or the other.
Yeah.
And it's the hold your nose vote that is going to decide who makes it, who runs this country the next time around.
Big time.
And that's why I think it could be PP. And I keep saying this not because I want it to happen, but because I think there may be just as many hold your nose holders for the Justin side as there is for the PP side.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying your political math, oh, the East decides this anyway, and we're way smarter than the West, and the West is, yeah. I think you gotta take into consideration that the growing number of nose holders behind that curtain in 2 years, it could be enough. There could be enough PP nose holders that write down his fucking name and make him the prime minister. And I think we need to wrap our heads around the possibility. And I think it's equally as concerning that Justin gets another run too. That's my opinion. But that's maybe out of pure hatred for the man.
Yeah, I know. But here's the thing: is that if you look at this, so you and I talked before the show, we wanted to talk about everything going forward because we have never, ever, ever trashed anybody's political view ever. We have never called anybody names. We have never called anybody raging lunatic, meat, loser, uneducated, dumb, Nazis, idiot, redneck, hillbilly, pussy. We have never done that, and we never will. We're the voice of reason.
Completely unbiased.
Yeah, as we were talking, I was thinking today, I'm like, how do we approach this today? How do we approach PP? How do we approach the coming culture war? How do we approach that? Because it's just a 2-year election cycle now. That's all this is. We're just going to see people beating the shit out of each other. It's going to be gloves off.
It was happening today to me.
Dude, and we're watching it now. So people are coming after you because your opinion. And if you take a commentator's perspective, so if you take your bias, you take your feelings out of this, and you look at this like it's going to be maybe the greatest 2-year political news cycle in the history of this country, you are going to have so much more to talk about. One of the things that we haven't talked about, you're talking about numbers. Let's talk about those numbers real quick. And I found this fascinating because I don't share any of the same values. My opinion, I believe Pierre Poilievere dog whistled his dick off to all the extremes, which you and I talked about.
And he did. It worked.
He closed rank, and it worked for him.
And
you could say you hate it. I hate it. I think it's fucking disingenuous. I think it's cheap.
Why did it work,
I think
Dean?
he's going to run out of runway because people are angry. But let me get to those
people are angry, exactly.
And I want to get to it.
And they're just as angry on both sides. So he played his cards right.
Kind of, but I don't know because hold it.
I got quite a few liberals yelling at me today, even though I don't even agree with people.
Oh, dude, and that's the thing is people are yelling at you or yelling at me because I'm saying, hey, fuck Pierre Poilievere. Well done. You fucking kettled the world. Great job. You gaslit your way to it. It worked. You did it. You brought American-style politics and harbinged terrible fuckingness, and you spoke to the anger. You harnessed the anger, and that anger got you. So let's get into the numbers of that anger. 68% of 400,000 people, possible electorates for the Conservative Party leadership, voted for Pierre Poilievere. 68% voted for him out of all the candidates. Charest, Atchison, that weirdo Baber. So 68%. So almost 70. 270,000 people total voted for Pierre Poilievere in this election to decide who the guy was that was going to run the Conservative Party. The electorate of 27,000 eligible voters in this, 27 million eligible voters in this country, that's 0.1% of the electorate. So if you think, and I'm just doing math, right? Like I'm not saying, hey, fuck this guy, fuck that. I would never say that to about Pierre Poilievere. I would never. But what I would say is if you look at the numbers and if you kind of break down what happened on the weekend and how he got what he got is he ran a train, he co-opted and consolidated all the fringe minority groups of the fringe minority groups, and he positioned himself as the only guy that could beat Trudeau. There are a lot of people in this country that fucking hate that man, by the way, Justin Trudeau, a lot. So that goes back to my eggplant theory. You know, put freedom on an eggplant, he'd be the conservative leadership. But this number of people that put him in power is so small compared to the majority of electorate in this country that, you know, he needs to spend the next 2 years doing shit like this, saying he's going to restore Canada's promise in a country where it doesn't matter who you love. I don't know that he necessarily believes that because he's voted against gay marriage, even though his father is openly gay. So, I mean, it remains to be seen if the things that he's going to start saying now assuage or bring people over who also hate Trudeau, but they're just afraid and can't imagine themselves voting conservative. That's his job. Listen, if we're going to look at this from a third-party lens, you can't look at it through your bias. Do I like him? No. I've never said a bad word about the man in my life. However, if you zoom out and you go, okay, well, what is this politically? Because this is here to stay. This kind of politics is here to stay. But he's going to have to get all kinds of people who aren't real to vote for him. Now, what do I mean by that? Thanks for asking. Do you know a guy named Luc Lebrun from Press Progress? This gentleman here?
I do not.
He's one of the lead columnists for Press Progress. It is a very heavily left-leaning publication. Great guy. I think they do some good work and uncover some really wacky shit. But he put a thread together of some of the people who shit posted him on Twitter after Pierre Poilievere supporters, right? Fans. So this is just what he put up. There are a bunch of these different examples in these threads, but let me just put this out there because it's actually fucking hilarious. And then we'll get into how. Really simple. First guy that tweets him, a guy named Tyler Worthington, at Tyler Worthington 15 on Twitter, says he's a human rights activist from Colorado. He joined Twitter September 2019. He's following 543 people. He's got 45 followers. This is what he sent to, he's a Pierre in Colorado, of all places, which is fucking incredible. Can't wait for Prime Minister Pierre Poilievere. We've had enough of Trudeau. Has to go. Now, when Luke did some digging as to this profile picture, who, by the way, 45 followers, who this person was, he found out not only he's not real. Well, he was sort of. He's actually just a picture from Alamy Stock Photos website, portrait of a confident man with a beard. That's who that is. So that's not a real account that's been shit posting, gloating about Pierre, and has been shit posting for Pierre. And I'll tell you how that works in a second, for a very long time. Another example. Over it, 77, nice lady with a nose ring. Oh, yeah. On all the pro-Pierre stuff. She tweets, wow, how does one lie for a living? I get this every day. It must suck to be a bottom feeder journalist on the libtard payroll. Get the fuck out with your bullshit, and then the middle finger emoji. Well, who is this person? Great question. She's just another model that you can download their picture from Utah, USA. Jake Nakos owns this picture, and she is also not a real person. Yeah, so she's another stock photo, fake account. She's got how many followers here? 3, joined in April 2022. Not even my favorite one, Locke. Not even my favorite one. My favorite one is Gus. Gus Kavanaugh. Gus says, quote, Pierre Poilievere will defeat racist blackface JT. Canada will be better. Keep in mind, these are people, and this is a party that is asking the Conservatives, asking for us to come together for him, saying that everything's divided. Who is Gus Kavanaugh? Great question. Gus Kavanaugh is this guy, old man with cigarette. Fake account, started June 2022 again, brand new account. And Gus is this guy they purchased.
Like a school woodworking class, because he looks like a guy that teaches woodworking in a high school. That's funny. Portrait elderly man with a gray beard, glasses, on grass, smoking cigarette.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Add that image to your favorites. You can buy that image, which the Conservative Party did. And what do they do with these? Great question. Great question. What they do is they pay a company called AIQ. A lot of different politicos do. Whether you're NDP, liberal, blah, 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 blah. Doesn't matter. AIQ is an arm of a company called Cambridge Analytica. Does that ring a bell?
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump, Steve Bannon's company, who's in jail right now. Donald Trump going to jail. And what they do is they farm out data points, but they do a little bit more than farming out data points. So you, Lachlan, have an online profile that they own. And that online profile has 3,000 data points at least about what you're interested in, what you click on, what you rage about, what you get happy about. And they use these fake accounts to further these stories from people that they pay for stories. Now you're like, well, Dean, have you ever seen this before? As a matter of fact, right before the convoy, remember Melissa Lantsman? She's a conservative politician. She tweets out a fake picture that was purchased from Shutterstock about Canadian empty grocery shelves. That helped kickstart.
She never really answered this, did she?
No, she just blocked us and moved on. Yeah. She just pretends this doesn't exist. Again, who's this guy? His name's Wyatt Claypool. He does work for Mount Royal University. He's the president of the Campus Conservative Club. What is Wyatt up to? Wyatt's interesting. He's been farmed out to the National Telegraph to purchase advertising to promote Pierre Poilievere and the conspiracy theory that Klaus Schwab is coming to steal your testicles. And he is real. Yes. No, I don't think he is. I think your testes are fine. And they take these stories that these individual fake accounts put out, and they pay real people sometimes not real people. In this case, National Telegraph, again, Wyatt Jackson. He's the guy. This is interesting. Wyatt Jackson, again, it's a hit piece on Pierre Poilievre's former colleagues who he just beat in this election, Sheree and Brown. Here's another one. Canadian taxpayers. This was put out. This is sponsored by the Canadian Taxpayers Association, which is another conservative think tank. Here's one sponsored by True North. So True North paid to put this ad. This is Andrew Lawton, that greasy fuck. They paid to literally put this ad into the atmosphere.
We never call anybody names.
Yeah, I didn't call him a name. I'm just an observation. Just an observation. It looks greasy. And he's elected Prime Minister. Pierre Poilievere joined the Andrew Lawton show. It is the most crazy fucking, almost fake circle jerk you'll ever see. Yeah. But this is new politics. You're right. Like these, what they're doing is not illegal. This is allowed. They used the darker versions, and this is Bill C-11. This is why the Trudeau government wants to bring in an online censorship bill to prevent people from telling lies, prevent people from doing this. And you're going to see literally over the next 2 years, this is my prediction. I don't care who wins. Doesn't matter to me. My life isn't going to change. They're all criminals. Every party, every person, just they have different
liberals
sized
do the same thing. They do versions of this.
Yeah, they've got agents that do, but no, they don't do this. This is not something that they do.
No,
they'll tell you because they don't want to be in the gutter. They prefer, but here's the truth: is that this is not sustainable, right? Like creating fake pomp and circumstance, fake support to make things look bigger and better than they are.
There isn't a version of this that liberals do.
No, I don't think so. Not that I've heard, but they could be. They don't use AIQ the same way that Pierre does.
It needs to be said out loud. One of the first North American politicians to hire Cambridge Analytica was
Barack Obama, I believe.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
And it was so successful, the work that he did with his social media campaign to win the primaries, that it got the attention of Donald Trump and his team. And then that's when they jumped in.
Mm-hmm. Well, and he owned it. He came up with it. They went
from getting a very, very progressive American leader in to working and getting a very right-wing guy in, Donald Trump. So they just like money.
Oh, totally. Yeah. This is about money. This is about influence. And keep in mind, you want to put the liberals and the conservatives on the same page in this country when it comes to that. The liberals are fighting for the same thing: access,
power,
government contracts, influence, all those things. So are the conservatives. The liberals just pretend like they're not into it for the same reasons. They are. So listen.
They put nice labels on things like we're going to save the planet, and it's a carbon tax.
Yeah,
and you have to pay it.
Yeah. I can't speak to the carbon tax because, I know there are a lot of environmental folks out there that think it's a great thing. I know there are a lot of conservative entrepreneurs that don't. I can't speak to that stuff. All I can tell you is that the end goal for all these parties, conservatives, liberals, NDP, is to manipulate you. You're the person. We just saw Pierre do a masterful job of it.
Good thing it doesn't work because none of us get sucked into it on a daily fucking basis.
No. Speaking of which, I'm sucked. I was sucked into the Queen's death and all the coverage for 48 hours. I am so fucking over it. Are you?
Oh,
are you as tired of it as I am?
I mean, I'm leery about talking about it because I got attacked when I mentioned my. It wasn't about the Queen. I like the Queen. I thought she did a lot of good things. I'm worried about where we're going with the monarchy because the guy that's taken over is a cock. But it's too much. It's too much. When I finally die, you guys are going to bury me in the ground and no one's even going to blink an eye. It's not going to be 2 weeks. For about 6 minutes.
I'd be sad. No, I'd be sad. I'd be sad for a
7
long period of time.
Okay,
no,
7.
Like We're friends. No.
It's about all you'll be able to tolerate. 7 minutes.
But if you were 96,
bury the guy.
If you're 96, about him? Well, here's the thing: is that the one thing I will say this before we lead into the video of Charles being a cock, because he is. You're right. Is the one narrative that makes me laugh today that I hear a lot of timers it's just so sad, and I'm like, what? Sad. She was 96. She had everything. Well, she had people wipe her ass for her. That's not sad. She lived an incredible fucking life as the Queen.
Somebody had to wipe the Queen's ass. I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, one of the great tidbits I learned is that when she would go on vacation or when she would be in a hotel, she would make people pour mashed potatoes in the toilet before she goes to the bathroom. This is just what I heard. I don't know if it's true. To blunt the sound so no one can record her going to the washroom, like maybe cutting a fart prior to unleashing the hounds.
Does that
maybe
work?
A tinkle that was too loud. I don't know, but I just was like fascinated by it. I'm like, man, these are the stories that came out after she died. She peed into mashed potatoes. It's unbelievable.
I want to share that thing. Like, it's all they can do to, I leave the door open sometimes.
Are we going to get into it? You want to get into the poops? No, I didn't think so. Anyway, did you see Charles?
Tell a quick poo story? I'll tell a quick poo story and then show you. Yeah. So we have this challenge, the celebrity death pool. I won because I had the queen. The guys have to wear used women's underwear from Value Village for a week, which I presented to them this morning. Grant went into the bathroom and he took the tag off of one of the pairs of underwears, which was ladies XXL, and he left the tag on the toilet paper roll. I went in to take a dump this morning, and he totally did it on purpose. He's like, what's somebody gonna think when they go in and see ladies XXL panties? It said panties on it. Tag in the men's shitter.
He just left it sitting there on the top of the roll, huh? That's a fucking solid move.
I was crying. I was laughing so hard. I was trying to wipe, but I was still laughing. I had tears rolling down my face.
Well, speaking of huge shits, Prince Charles, I want you to watch how it didn't take him long for him to dick up the entire monarchy. This is awesome to watch. This is him trying to sign some papers and getting mad because the desk is too messy. And you fucking wait for the look he gives the page at the end of it. Look at this. He's signing something here, Charles. He's got a big fountain pen. It's England, of course. He's signing a new constitution. It has something to do with himself. Now watch. He moves his paper and he's like, this is too much of a mess. Like, what the fuck's going on here? Watch his face where he notices he's got extra pens. He's like, get these fucking things out of here.
What a dick. This is why I was okay with the queen. And it's sad that because that guy's taken over.
Yeah.
That's why.
Dude, that was part one.
The monarchy is in trouble because everyone's just sitting here waiting. They're just waiting for Mama Lily Burger to pass on. In 96, she had a great life. And she's done, right?
Yeah.
And now everyone's going to sit there and go, do we really want that guy? No. Australia, they'll start to fall.
Yeah. The Commonwealth countries, within 5 years, there will be 3 of them. Guaranteed. Instead of 53 to 2.
Because of him.
Yeah.
They should have just put William in there. Prince Pegger. At least I understand that.
The Prince of Pegging? Yeah, I do too. Again, the delight of explaining that to Mumsy before she goes. That's a lot of fun, huh? Mom, you're going to read some stuff about Prince, pegging, whatever. Here's the deal.
That probably killed her.
This is him, probably one of the things. That and her son, Andrew, who had a terrible day today. We'll get to that in just a second as well. But this is Charles when he arrives.
Did they let him out?
No, I don't know. Yeah, they did. This is Charles when he arrived at the desk going, this is too messy. Look at the way he shoos the guy. Like shoo. This is like elitist fucking like 2.0. It's awesome to watch. Look at him. He's like, get this out of here. Move this. This is too messy. Move it before I sit down as the king. Did you see that? Look at
what's his wife's name? Camilla. Look at her. Look at the disgust.
Yeah.
Look at the disgust on her face.
Fucking loser. Did you see that? Oh my God. I didn't even see that look on her face.
Watch.
Where she's watching him and she's like,
she's mortified by him.
What a fucking loser.
Yeah. She's like, why am I here?
Speaking of losers, Prince Andrew hasn't come out since paying off Virginia Giuffre, the lady who Jeffrey Epstein delivered to her when she was 14. Andrew, well-known pedophile. They call him the pedophile prince. That's what he is. He's a pedophile prince. Fact. Did you see him get heckled today?
Queen Elizabeth's favorite, too, by the way, apparently.
Yeah.
She apparently loved Prince.
Probably what killed her, too. Also the age of 96. Anyway, yeah, you're right. Prince Andrew. He got heckled today. So can you imagine, right? Andrew settles his lawsuit. He's a well-known, like the world's most well-known pedophile after Jeffrey Epstein. And he hasn't come out of the house in a couple of years, clearly. And he hasn't had to face the music or be accountable or talk to anybody publicly, clearly, for 2 years. This day today was the one he was dreading. Not because his mom died. not because or any other reason, not because of the work involved in being a royal, but because he's had all of his princely titles taken away from him, like almost everything, all of his duties taken away from him. So he's been effectively circumcised as a human being or as a prince. Because of what he did. His mom did that a few months ago. If you remember when he paid off Virginia Giuffre and he put out this thing, he's like, sorry about that. Here's $25 million. He had to sell all of his shit because it wasn't coming out of the country's coffers, all that stuff. So he's in the funeral procession today. So he's
supposed to take care of her dogs or something. That's what they let him do now. He gets
the corgis. Yeah, that's how much of a useless tool he is. They're like, just give him the dogs and tell him to fuck off. So Andrew is all of the Queen's family, grandchildren, children, whoever's left, whatever. We're walking behind her coffin in a hearse leaving Edinburgh Castle, which is Balmoral.
Okay, I've been avoiding all the coverage. I haven't seen this.
Yeah, I didn't see it today either. I just watched it on Twitter. I'm like, this is fucking unbelievable. And this young man screams, Andrew, you are a sick old man. Heckled him. And he got pounded. Watch this.
Where is he?
He's in the middle. Right here, you're going to see cops lean in and go grab him. Right. There it is. Boom. Watch this as they drag him out. Sticks with his conviction. Disgusting.
Yep. That's what that was about.
See that fucking courage on that kid?
He's not wrong.
Yeah.
He's not wrong. The guy's a monster.
Yeah, he's totally a monster. You sick old man, he says. Sick old man. And the country is losing it. England is losing it today. They're so fucking angry that this kid did it. Then cops sat down with him. I want you to watch this. This is I love this kid. I don't know where he's from. He's obviously Glaswegian. He's obviously from Scotland. He obviously doesn't like pedophilia. And he obviously is going to have to move pretty soon. But watch him explain to the cops. I fucking love this. Watch.
Powerful men shouldn't be allowed to commit sexual crimes and get away with it.
Did you hear that?
Powerful men shouldn't be allowed to commit sexual crimes and get away with it.
Powerful men shouldn't be allowed to commit sexual crimes and get away with it. Fucking guy's awesome.
Yeah.
And he's 100% right. And everybody seems everyone glossing over this. It's just like, oh, no, it's the Queen. No,
well, and that's the struggle you have. Like I said to you it was last Friday, right? Yeah. When the Queen passed away. It was on the 8th, and then on the 9th, you and I were chatting beforehand, and you're like, I wanna talk about this, and I'm like, oh, Dean, I'm the wrong guy. Phone one of your buddies. Like, put somebody else on. And you're like, no, I want your honest opinion. I'm like, it's too soon. She just died. Like, it's disrespect. I don't have a very strong opinion of the royals, of the monarchy as a whole. I don't. And it comes off as mean, right? She just died. She was 96. And now look what we're left with. Now we're left with, I don't think anybody is expecting Prince Charles to be, I don't know, somebody that we're going to put up on a pedestal as an example of a great human being. Look at him. The guy's signing paperwork to give him access to, I don't know, some fucking castle or something, and he's a dick. Like, couldn't even hang on for a week. Charles.
Yeah,
and your true colors.
Dude, he was a dick day one. He turned he did the old platitudes and all that other stuff, and was a dick day one. But you know what? You can't.
We put these people up on a pedestal, and they're just human beings. Yeah. They're just human beings. Why do we need? How many more examples do we need? We worship these people, right? And then when they do bad things, they get away with it because we put them up on a pedestal. Mm-hmm. And it's not. We're all flawed, every single one of us, and some more so than others. And I think a lot of time these positions we put these people in give them some sort of idea in their own heads that they're allowed to get away with it. which makes it worse. The sooner we get to a point where everybody just realizes we're all just fucking human beings. We're all just trying to make it. We're all just trying to do the right thing. Some of us aren't. I've learned that. Some people are just awful people. But as soon as we realize that everybody, whether you're cleaning toilets or you're running the company, you're just a goddamn person. That's it. At the end of the day, you're just a person.
Yeah.
Why do I have to call you Mayor Worship? Like, why? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. You know what? I actually have more fucking time for the guy that's cleaning the shitter.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same way. I would rather talk to the FedEx guy
than call you out for not having any respect for tradition, and you're just you know, and then you get that, right?
Who cares, dude? I watched that all weekend long. People that took issue with me trying to distance myself from certain things, people that took issue with comments. It's every day, like every day. I watched people come after you today for simply saying Alberta's angry. People in Canada are angry.
In Canada,
you got to be able to understand what's going on. Like,
don't disregard it.
People are calling you racist, and I'm like, he's not racist. He's just making a point. So it doesn't even matter. Like,
I don't even like it. I probably won't even vote. Well, no, I know I'm not going to vote for PP. I can't. I won't be able to bring myself to. But I'm just pointing out that there's a possibility that there's a reason why he got in, and knowing why might give you an idea of how to combat any of the anger and the division moving forward. Like, I don't agree with him or his policies. I don't. I'm too much in the middle. I'm a conservative person. Technically, if you look back at my history of voting, more conservative than liberal. But I'm in the middle. There's lots of progressive ideas that I wish the Conservative Party would adopt. Right. And again, I highlighted the Rex Murphy article not as an example of great journalism or an expose on why you should vote for PP. It was to highlight, and you don't have a lot of time on Twitter. You've got 140 characters or 60 now or whatever it is. It was just like, this is an example. Read this. If you want to understand, get a glimpse into why PP got voted in to run the Conservative Party. This is where we're at politically, and it's sad, everybody. It is really fucking sad because we have two extreme options to vote for.
You know, it's funny because
if you don't see the role that the two of them are playing in the division, I'm sorry, then you're part of the problem. You are, because it's happening on both sides. Both of them are playing a role in the division that is currently not just in this country but around the world, right? And the lack of ownership on both sides of that is just going to push people further apart.
Yeah, no,
right?
I don't disagree. It's amazing because what people choose to take issue with, right? How we choose to take issue with things, because we choose to have issues. We choose to type things. We choose to say things. We choose to act ridiculous. We choose to act normal. We choose to act angry. We choose these things, right? Like, there was a tweet that went out today. Have you seen this braless trend? Have you seen this thing that's happening around the world? This beautiful,
I'm not noticing it in my neck of the woods, but
no, you should. Yeah,
but
you didn't go out enough this summer then. Yeah, I noticed it this summer. I was walking downtown. I'm like, it's an inordinate amount of women that don't wear bras anymore. This is fucking, I love 2022. Right? I'm a dude. It's a real thing.
You're a boob guy though, right? You're more, so you're drawn to this. This is something that might catch your attention.
Yeah,
I am not noticing it.
Oh, I like, anytime I'm in a room, it's like sometimes I don't even know if people have heads. I've been working on it for a long period of time, like really long period of time. And listen, there are a lot of guys out there that should probably wear bras. I get it. But it's a big trend now. The braless trend is like one of the big things in 2022. That and wearing stripes with polka dots, apparently. Those are the two big fashion trends. Right
I am against that.
And like brown and orange. Wearing brown and orange is a big thing, or like orange and pink. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I was reading about it today because I was reading about
black
trends.
T-shirts and shoes that you get from the hikers section?
Always in. It's always in style. It's always good. But the braless trend is big, and I saw this tweet, and I'm like, this guy's got to be fucking kidding me. Did you see this? Nah, wrong tweet. Is it this one? It's this one. Emmanuel Acheta tweets
a braless
a couple days ago. because I was reading about braless trending. And the rising trend, he says, of braless women parading the streets is overwhelming. Those with prominent nipples carelessly wear tops with thin fabrics and swagger about. If you talk, they'll tell you it's their choice. The annoying thing is the lack of differentiation.
Really? That guy's real?
What a fucking
That's got to be a fake account.
No,
that's a fake account.
No,
sure. Go
that is
dig
a
into
real
it. Send
account.
that to that guy from
for years. Let me read this again. There's a braless trend going around. Women all over the place are freeing themselves from the tyranny of brasiers. This is the one guy that's got a problem with it. The rising trend of braless women parading around in the streets is overwhelming. Those with prominent nipples carelessly wear tops with thin fabrics and swagger about. If you talk, they'll tell you it's their choice. The annoying thing is the lack of differentiation.
Here's a question for you.
Braless chicks. What's that?
If you were a woman, Dean, would you and it became a trend, would you go braless? Because I got to tell you, I would.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't go underwearless, but I wear underwear that keep everything in, like Gitch, Ed's Fine Imports. You can get yourself a pair right now. Go online. Gitch3 is your promo code. I like it to have their own little tree for it. I like it to be separate from the legs and all the other stuff going on down there. Yeah. It's a mess when you're a dude. There's a bunch of stuff going on, moving parts all over the place. So if I transfer the knowledge of my cock and balls to the front end of a female, this region here, they're dealing with stuff that's moving around. And it's their prerogative. You know how many guys don't wear underwear? Tons, specifically in Western Canada. Like, I think the number's like 95% of Western Canada doesn't wear underwear. Men. Pretty sure that's the number. I think 98%, 97, something like that.
No.
Or 94. It's close. But, like, it's your prerogative to not wear
numbers.
And yeah, totally. I made up all those numbers. But generally speaking, you wear the underwear for support, right? Women who don't feel like wearing a bra for support to keep things in place don't have to. And if they choose to wear thin fabric, good for them. Good for us. Not good for that guy who can't stand the look and the protruding nipples. I don't know if you know this, but that's like one of my favorite looks on the planet. This guy's crapping on it, and he's crapping on the freedom and the courage that these women have to go braless. Yep. Are you kidding me? Dude, they have bras now at Victoria's Secret that they sell with nipple dents. Did you know that?
Just so that you can show your nipple?
That's right. You got it. That's right.
Okay.
This is a look. This is fashion. And if these women have built-in fashion, there is no man on the planet that has the moral authority to tell women that they cannot wear a bra with nipples in it or not wear a bra at all.
I'm not against this at all. Like, at all.
I guess.
I think we have made... culturally, we've made these things embarrassing or something. I don't know.
Boobs,
right?
What do you mean? We've made boobs
yeah, nipples, and we made them embarrassing for some reason, and it's weird, right? It is.
Yeah, I don't know why. Why would a man be intimidated or have an issue with a woman's choice to not wear a bra?
No, I don't understand that. Yeah.
And who on earth, as a man, makes that public statement? I don't know if he got ratioed. I haven't seen the bottom. I haven't seen the actual number of people on this tweet. But I can't see this guy not getting ratioed for this take where he's demeaning women who just don't want to wear a fucking bra. They want to go out in public. Maybe they just got out of bed and they have to go get a coffee and run kids to school and all this other stuff. There's that. And then there's some women who's like, man, these things feel dangerous. I look like $1 million. I'm just going to go out braless today. Fuck it. Good for her. Good for both of those people. Bad for Emmanuel. That is a terrible take. Why? What?
And why is it his he has
why
no say.
Even fucking say anything on it? Last thing I want to get to before we let you go.
That's it. I'm gonna stop wearing pants.
Yeah, well, you should. I would.
I'm gonna just go pantless with a boner. Listen, I'm just gonna wander around the streets with a boner and no pants.
Well, there's the thing. There's the rub. Before we get to the stripper video, that's a good lead in with the boners and the nipples. Is it the same thing for us? If we just decided to wear a thin layer of gabardine down there and we sported wood, we'd probably get arrested, right?
Yeah.
If you walked around with a boner and decided you were just going to wear some like linen
not
shorts.
The same thing. Should not have compared the two. I'm aware of the difference. Please don't point it out on Twitter. I may not go on Twitter today for the rest of the day.
Yeah, I'm going to take the rest of the day off.
Just take a break.
Do you ever go to a strip joint? This is the last thing we're going to talk about today, and we'll let you split. Do you ever go to a strip joint, Deb?
I don't like strip. No.
No.
Deb and I aren't. The wife and I who celebrated. We celebrated 28 years this weekend of marriage. Not the. I was never comfortable, and this isn't me trying to get points with the female crowd. I swear to God, when I was younger, I used to go to a place in Castlegar. I was going to college. I went to first year university transfer courses in Castlegar at Selkirk College before I went to radio school. Long story, don't need to get into it. But I was living with a couple of guys in a trailer not far away from the High Arrow pub. And the one guy that I was living with was really good at pool, and we were really bad at paying our rent. So he used to take us to the bar, Randy and I, and he used to go, okay, one of you just needs to be my partner. You don't need to do much. We were bad at paying the rent. But at the end of the month, we'd go, and Kelly would fucking win at pool like crazy. He was so good. He would like literally, and he didn't look like a guy that was good at pool, but he was really good at pool. So we would go make our rent. And that's what we like literally, and it was in a strip club. And I remember being not honestly not comfortable in that environment. It was so foreign to me. I came from a small town. I got thrown into, I was 18, and I was really put off by strip clubs.
Really?
And and I have never really
was it the objectification of the women on the stage?
There's a couple of stories we don't need to get into. There was
the ping pong balls.
There was a ping pong ball situation that I remember seeing. Although that actually made me Mitzi. That was an interesting evening. Actually, I'm old enough to remember Mitzi. What's that?
French maid Mitzi?
Well, yeah, she fired him across the room, and she'd hit like your
Great
beer
show.
and Anyway, that's different. She had a skill. Just the whole idea, and half of them can't dance. They're awkward up there.
Yeah,
there was one night
naked. They were there to be objectified by dudes. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
That one of the ladies was arrested by the police for doing something with a very large thing that suctioned to the floor and moved like this.
She got arrested.
She got arrested because you're not supposed to put things upside down.
Oh, she engaged with said toy. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a live sex show. Live sex shows are not allowed, but the stripping is. Yeah.
And it was awkward. I don't like that energy. I've never, they had a stripper at my stag, and I was just not into this.
Guys, yeah, me too.
I hate that.
Strippers of mine. I never got it. Like, I've been to strip joints. Most of us have been to strip joints. Most men have, but we don't go with our spouses, right? You don't go with your girlfriend.
That's more of a recent trend, I think.
It is, but both parties have to be willing to understand what goes on in a strip joint.
Yes.
Right? If you're going to go with your spouse to a gentleman's club, man and woman spouse team, maybe it's a man and man spouse team, maybe it's a woman and woman spouse team. Let's just put it
Doesn't matter. If everybody needs to be on the same page, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's love who you love. I love it. Good for you. I'm just bringing up this because we're going to watch a video that typifies what we're talking about. Couples and the couple strippers trend. Not only is bralessness a trend, so is going to a strip joint with your wife or your boyfriend or husband or whatever. But you have to be prepared for what goes on there. If you're agreeing to go into a strip joint, you've got to be aware of dollar bills in the G-string. You've got to be aware of the slot machine. You got to be aware of the ping pong balls. You have to be aware of the helicopter. You got to be prepared for the shower, like the pat down in the shower. Yeah, I've seen that shower. Before. Oh yeah, there was just shower guys. You can keep a gitch on, but they
apparently my mom jumped into the shower with the stripper at my wife's stag.
Oh, I didn't know
Just found that out on our last trip to Vancouver. That was.
Did she get it on with the guy from?
We didn't get into that part of the conversation.
Your mom got into a shower.
I was already having trouble with the image of my mom jumping on stage at a strip club and jumping in a shower with the male stripper. I didn't want to get into how far did it go. I was just like, really? As we drove by the club that they went in to, I didn't ask for details, Dean.
I would have, dude. That's where you and I are different. I would have been like, you got to spill all the details, Mom. As grossed out as I am, I need to know if you got it. I have to know. Is my mama dirty? Like all of us. But when
didn't surprise me, my mom volunteered to jump up on stage. We'll just leave it at that. Okay, I love her dearly, but it didn't surprise me that she was like, I'll go up.
Stir my drink first. Do it with your winky, young man. Stir my drink with your winky, young man.
Apparently, this was more than a stir stick, though.
Oh, was it?
From the wife's, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He could have done some baking. We'll just leave it at that.
Well, going to a strip joint with a couple. Let's talk about it after this video. You might want to reconsider. This comes to us from Atlanta. It's the strip joint capital of the world. I don't know if you know that. There are more
Texas is huge too, right? They love it down there.
But guy goes on stage, wife is in the audience, or girlfriend standing by the stage. I don't even know how they got to this point when you watch what happens next. Watch this.
All right.
We go. She is beating the shit out of him. Did you see that?
That's her boyfriend.
Yeah. Let's just do the play-by-play here. Let's do the Howie Meeker telestrator with the strip joint. So a burlesque attendant, an adult entertainer, is rubbing her private area in this man's face as he's sitting up. Girlfriend, as you can see, is in the bottom left. Her hand is right over her face. She can't believe it. Her man is engaged in what appears to be, and this guy's an idiot, because who the fuck does this in front of their girlfriend? Like, this guy was like, you know what? I don't even care what happens, because this might never come around again. I might never get to put my face in something like this, so I need to do it. But I want you to watch what happens after his girlfriend. As you can see right there, she's filming, she's into it. There are ladies in the crowd with their husbands and their boyfriends, but this is a bridge too far. Watch this. Right in, and that's it. You're fucking off the stage, and he gets, look at this, he gets his ass kicked. It was fucking right on. He's like, you fucking get off that stage right now. That's too much. But he was already there. That's what I don't understand. She was so triggered by it that she was like, fuck, he's got to get off that stage. But like, this was happening. This had already happened. She didn't have a problem with it until.
The best part of it, he was trying to stay on the stage.
Yeah, he was. He's like, no, I'm going to go back.
He's using all his core strength.
He's using all his
I'm not done strength. Yet. The show's not over.
Babe, I haven't even given her the $5 yet. Hang on. Wait a sec. Hang on. No, wait.
I didn't tip. Honey, I didn't. Loretta, I didn't tip her. Yeah, you got to be prepared. If you go with your spouse, you got to be prepared. You I can't even wrap my head around going to a strip club with my wife.
Neither. I wouldn't be able to do. I've never done that with anybody I've ever dated or been married to. It's like, if someone said, hey, we should go to a strip joint today, I'd be like, why?
No.
Why? You're right here.
I don't
right
know what
here.
that makes.
We can do whatever we want. There's no mystery there. I'm going to hear Stairway to Heaven, right? I'm going to watch someone lay on a blanket with a wolf on it.
Yeah.
They're going to cut I'm going to feel ripped off because they're going to cut that song. It's a 7.5 minute tune. It's only going to be 3.5 on stage. Yellow Ledbetter. I'll hear that. Dude, if I wanted to listen to music and watch someone get naked, I'd just turn on the fucking CD player and I would download some music in a playlist and I'd just watch porn.
We talked about that this morning because it would have been Barry White's birthday. He passed away quite a few years ago, but we've had this conversation multiple times in the locker room over the last little while. Yeah. Do you know anybody that can pull the, hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Sit down. Can I get you a drink? And puts on Barry White? No. Those guys are out there. They're out there. They're living and walking and breathing among us. And they're able to make that work Like if I did that, if I got the Barry White playlist together, and when the wife came home, I had dinner prepared, got her a glass of wine, and I put on old Barry to try to sex up my wife, she would start laughing uncontrollably.
What are you doing? Nothing.
Just wouldn't fly. So you gotta have a lot of respect for those guys.
Oh, I do. Tons. Ray Rout joins us, director of sports here at DeanBlundell.com. Ray Rout is here, week 1 of the NFL. Ray, before we get to week 1 of the NFL, you don't go to a strip joint with your spouse, do you?
No. I don't go to one at all anyway. So.
On your own. Yeah. Me neither.
Yeah. So
it's too gross for me. Yeah, no offense. I mentioned the ladies
Ray's staying home playing Barry White for the wife. That's what's going on there.
Yeah. Did you see you probably are. Did you see this video of a woman who went to a strip joint in Atlanta with her boyfriend, and when things got crazy, she got crazy? Did you see this? This is fucking great. There you go, beat the shit out of him right there. Tell you, that's like we're just talking about it. You got, like, if you go as a couple, you got to be prepared for the crazy business, right?
Set some guidelines.
Yeah. Right.
First off, maybe if your wife is a little jealous, maybe you don't volunteer to go on stage either. Not that she's not in fault there, but
yeah, exactly.
He knew that was coming. He knew that was coming when she did the old hip thrust into his
face.
Head.
Yeah. Ray, how are you, brother? Week 1 of the NFL is in the books, right? We got a Monday nighter tonight. But other than that, I think we're pretty much fucking done. Well, your Patriots suck ass, by the way. Holy shit. I watched part of that game yesterday, and I'm like, they suck. That's the worst Patriots team I've ever seen in my life. They got dummied by the Dolphins. I'm still high on the Bills, but what'd you make of week 1? Any big takeaways? Did you lose some money? Let's talk about you losing money. Let's talk about that today, too. Or making either or.
Yeah, I probably kind of broke about even. Let's first of all, picking football games week 1 is an absolute crapshoot. So I kind of said it in my podcast. Don't take everything I say at face value. By week 3 or 4, you start to get a good feeling of which team is which. When it comes to big surprises, not really. I mean, I kind of got caught up on the homer train. I've been getting a lot of heat from Patriots fans. I was like, all right, I'll go in all in on them against Miami. And then they kind of did everything that I expected them to do. So it really irritated me that I had any hope, because I have this team winning 6 games this season. So, it is what it is. You know what? I think surprised a lot of people, and I will say it surprised me as well, is how dominant the Kansas City Chiefs looked. I was one of those guys who thought they would be somewhat affected without Tyreek Hill. I'm not idiotic. I didn't think that Patrick Mahomes was going to regress or the team was going to look awful, but I thought there was going to be a little bit of regression as a team. They looked better without him. Travis Kelce was a beast. Juju had a good game. They spread the ball around. I think 9 different pass catchers caught a ball for Kansas City. Unfortunately for Bills fans, they're your kryptonite. And yesterday, my conclusion was, if there was any team that was going to challenge the Bills for the AFC and then, winning the AFC this year, it's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, let's talk about that too, because Ray Rout joins us from We Got Next?
Who's got next?
Spaced out. Who's Got Next podcast. Download, subscribe wherever you get your podcast. You can follow him at DPN_Ray. He's been a longtime football blogger, very well respected in the community. Shit talks better than anybody on Twitter, by the way. Like sports shit talk, Ray's the master. But what we saw yesterday in the AFC, and let's just deal with that because we're in Toronto. You're in Toronto. I know Lachlan's a big Bills fan. What you saw from Miami. They fucking hammered the Patriots yesterday. They looked like a joke. And what you saw from the Bills, and I know you've been complimentary about the Bills. I watched Josh Allen become a man the other day. Thursday night, they let him loose, and to let that guy loose and to see what he can do in terms of athleticism and his size and his ability to run the ball and throw the ball. Can anybody keep pace with the Bills, and are they as good as everybody in the NFL and talks about the NFL and handicaps the NFL? What did you see from that game that would say, yes, they are as good, no, they're a fraud, but the season feels different to me? Like this team feels different to me. Their defense feels different to me.
I wouldn't call them fraudulent by any means, but there was one big takeaway from that game, which I think a lot of analysts, a lot of Bills analysts and Bills fans, everything are ignoring. And it is a big deal, regardless of how you try to scrape it away. They gave up the ball 4 times. If they play a good team like Kansas City is going to walk away with 28 points on those 4 turnovers, and they're going to score 38 points on Buffalo. Right. So that was a concern for me. The one interception you can't put on Josh Allen, it bounced out of a player's hand. One was a terrible throw by Josh Allen. And the 2 fumbles by the running backs were soft, weak fumbles. I was listening to Ross Tucker talking about it the other day, and he said, he goes,
Ross Tucker Football on Twitter? Ross Tucker Football? Yes. I fucking love him. He's such a great follow. Yeah.
So I was listening to his podcast, and he said it. He said, if you watch them, and so I went back and watched it, they were soft fumbles. Like they're fumbles that shouldn't have happened. So they need to clean that up. And I kind of tweeted that out and said, like, Buffalo's got to be kicking themselves a little because they probably should have won that game 7-0. But I would be, if I was going to pick out a concern and say something to work on, if I was Sean McDermott, and I'm sure he did this because I know that Bill Belichick would have been all over the Patriots. You can't win the Super Bowl giving up 4 turnovers a game. It just doesn't work that way. So that would be my one and only concern. I thought that, they're going to shellac the AFC East is bad as the Patriots looked on Sunday. The Dolphins didn't look much better. They were just beating up on a bad Patriots team, and that is what it is. So they're going to select the AFC. There's going to be no chance there. I look at the Kansas City Chiefs as being a real threat. We'll have to see what Denver looks like tonight with Russell Wilson now there. Denver's also got one of the best defenses in the league. And you know what? I mean, the Chargers, Raiders, they didn't overly impress me this week. I'd like to see them play somebody outside of the West and not play each other to really see who they are. Besides that, we really didn't learn anything. I mean, Joe Burrow had 5 turnovers in that Steelers game and had no reason to still be hanging around, and they did hang around, and it was, Evan McPherson missing kicks. So, and I also wouldn't be counting out the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson looked like a guy who wants to make more than $250 million a year. So that's, there's still some good teams there. I get Buffalo fans, and I get exactly what you're saying, Dean. It should feel different as Bills fans, and I'm not going to blame any Bills fan on the planet who thinks that this season feels different. But I'm going to put one thing on the table, Bills fans, because I've been very complimentary of you. And even like when you lost to Kansas City last year at 13 seconds, Dean, I came on your show and I was very, they're such a good team. Their time is coming. Bills Mafia is getting a little bit more mouthy. You better win the Super Bowl this year, or you are going to have a relentless, awful offseason from me and a lot of fans, because nobody's going to look at you as the lovable losers anymore. So you better hope you win a Super Bowl, because Bills fans are confident and they're cocky. I just always caution people to maybe win something before you get a little bit too out there about it.
Yeah.
Thanks for the advice, but
suck it. Do it. Yeah, suck it, because we're still fucking riding the Bulls train.
People are so annoyed that I just started cheering for the Bills this year.
Locken is the only person I'm really happy for. I told you, Lock. Any diehard like you, I am all over. I'm so happy you get to experience this.
But they look fucking unbelievable.
That's my new strategy. Every year, I'm just going to pick the favorite leading into the regular season.
Ride it. That's what everybody does. That's what all the punters do. They're like, fuck, let's just see where we can put a sprinkle. Let's see where we can. And you're like, yeah, I'm going to take the heavy preseason betting favorite. But if you watch the NFL football, the first 4 or 5 weeks are literally a sluicing out period, right? You kind of like, remember the Bills last year. They got off to this incredible start. You're like, they're probably going to win 40 games this year. And it's not 40 games on the calendar, but they sure looked like they weren't going to lose a game. And they went through this fucking dry spell a little bit into the season where they looked like shit. Like they got beat by Indianapolis, Jonathan Taylor, who had just this fucking all-world game. They got beat by a bunch of teams they shouldn't have lost to. I want to say they lost to the Jets. They lost a couple of fucking weird games.
They lost to the Jaguars.
Yeah, Jags. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence.
They didn't score a touchdown.
Yeah. They didn't score. It's just fucking wild. Yeah. But
that's the difference of the NFL and every other sport, is that you got 17 games.
And in those games, you've got a series of, like, it's so hard to run the table in the NFL. It's fucking such a difficult thing to do, even though there are very few games, but it is such a tough game to win at because so many other pieces and players and different things. You got 5 guys on the field in hockey. You got 5 guys on the court in basketball. How many guys? You got 11, 12 guys on the field, depending on if you're Bill Belichick. You can't count, couldn't count yesterday. But it is
12 in the CFL.
12 in the CFL, bigger field, right? Yeah, let's not
CFL
talk about
people
the
are
CFL.
mad at me right now. Dude.
By the way, yeah, dude, you missed it. He tweeted this weekend a story. Ray put out a story. He's like, the Toronto people wouldn't even know if the Argos left town. Like, no one,
I did a poll. It's true. I confirmed it. I didn't make it up. I had the poll to back it up. Yeah. And some people were mad.
Pissed. Yeah,
you're not wrong. There's been a real lack of support in Toronto for their CFL franchise for years. I know football fans that are very, like, they're upset about the lack of traction, but I mean, it's Toronto. There's so much happening there, right? And I don't understand it from the perspective of, like, how did the Raptors do it? The Raptors have sort of, baseball's baseball. You're always going to have a fan base there. It's hockey. It's Canada. I mean, obviously Leafs, but I mean, the Raptors came in and they've I mean, people love going to those games, and they've done a really good job of marketing. I don't know. I don't know what the problem is.
Superstars. And superstars draw leagues. I can tell you. I'll tell you what. Go. TFC, Pre-Javinko, and Altidore, and go on game day and get free tickets like the Argos. You bring 3 stars in, you start competing for championships. People start to notice the league, right? Or when David Beckham's here, I went to Bastian Schweinsteiger's first game in Toronto, and that place, I mean, was packed to the rafters, and a lot of them were wearing German jerseys for Schweinsteiger. So it's star power. The CFL has no star power. With the Raptors, you can go to a Raptors game and watch LeBron James play, Kevin Durant come to town. You know, who the hell are you going to go see at an Argos game, right? That the majority would care about. That's a household name. It's not.
Yeah,
there in the CFL.
Yeah, there are legitimate reasons that the Toronto doesn't draw, and it's not because it's not as good as the NFL, right? You know, it's one of the reasons. But if you go to Saskatchewan, I mean, they're flush with money. They get 30, 40,000 people out to a game. It doesn't matter. But to your point,
they also sell the game in Saskatchewan. They're not trying to get you there with hot dog night.
To be fair, yeah, like the Blue Jays. Remember that? When you're like, yeah, I'll buy all the hot dogs tonight. And it was Looney Dog night. Remember that? And I'm like, oh, you great guy. You're like, you go get all the beer, Dean, and I'll get the fucking $1 hot dogs. I'm like, great, because the beers are $80 each. That's awesome. It's gonna be a $4,000 night. You're gonna spend $10 and be full. Awesome, great stuff.
Who's the dummy?
Yeah, me, this guy. I'm the dummy. But
you don't even drink, and you're still buying rounds.
I know. I bought like 20 rounds that night. I'm like, okay, I guess so. Here you go. I'll have a soda. I'll have a Diet Coke. Great. That's a lot of fun. But to your point, it's the superstar thing is a great way to kind of explain why people in Toronto are not attracted to this. Because if you get a chance to go and watch Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam play against the Los Angeles Lakers, or do you want to spend your money going to watch, McLeod Bethel Thompson and some guy named Jim, play the Saskatchewan Roughriders? I mean, seriously, like
Jim, who sold you an Acura in the summer,
who might be your accountant as well.
Hey, yeah. I know Jim. I bought a car from him. Doesn't he work at the Chevy dealer?
Yeah. You know what? Jim's playing tonight.
Oh, you guys are such dicks. It's a good league.
It's not that great of a league. It's not here anyway. But back to the NFL in week 1. Surprises, anything that shocked you? Any takeaways where you're like, this is weird, even though it's week 1?
No, not really. I think everything.
No,
I guess
not even the Patriots getting drubbed.
Nah.
No,
I haven't winning 6 to 8 games this year, so it is what it is. I went a little homerish for week 1. I got caught up in life. I went on my podcast last night and said they are what I thought they were. I'm not listening to you idiots anymore who told me to get behind this team. They are who they are. Burrow, I think, throwing 4 interceptions, that really shocked me. You know what? How bad both the Bucks and the Cowboys looked last night was probably a little bit of a shock.
That was an awful game.
That was a terrible game of football. I stopped watching it after halftime because I just couldn't watch anymore. It was so boring, especially after I mean, when you talk about a shock factor, not from how games rolled out, but when you look at it from an entertainment value, the Detroit Lions coming back on Philly and just falling short. New Orleans coming back after being down 26-7, beating Atlanta. And I mean, that's the least shocking thing to happen. Atlanta blowing a big lead in the fourth quarter. That's what they become famous for. Somehow the overtime game between the Steelers and the Bengals was phenomenal. I think the Steelers were
Steelers look good.
17-0 at the half. The Bengals could have won the game, though. They missed an extra point. They missed the game winner. And then Houston was up 20-7, I believe, on the Colts, and that game somehow goes to overtime. Rodrigo Blankenship misses the kick wide right. The game ends in a tie. So some of those results sort of shocked me. But I know that somebody had written me and said, I can't believe that the Colts only tied that game. And I said, I think it was 9 straight years the Colts had got lost on week 1. So I said, a tie is actually an improvement. I never take the Colts week 1. It's just for whatever reason I'm them. So nothing really shocked me. I would say, the Panthers.
I thought they were going to win.
They lost big field. I think a 55-yard kicked.
I love the revenge games too, though. Browns, like that was
the
Who's that?
Browns.
Oh yeah. No, fuck, nobody does. And
that's why I would have loved to see Baker win that one.
Yeah, me too. Everybody was. For the first time in Baker Mayfield's life, everybody was rooting for him. Like literally.
By the way,
everybody.
That Panthers kicker or the Browns kicker kicked a 58-yard field goal to win that one with seconds left. 58. Why don't they just go down to the halfway point in the field and just kick every time?
58.
Yeah, because it's only 3 points actually. But yeah, 58. It was a 58-yard. Yeah, it was fucking unbelievable. The revenge games though, like they played. They put the Browns and the Panthers in week 1, right?
Yeah,
like it's just so fuck you. Everybody's like, hey, want to watch the fuck you game? Yeah, totally want to watch the fuck you game. We watched the Vikings give it another revenge game. Yeah. Give it to Aaron Rodgers, who looked hilarious without Devontae Adams yesterday. Made me laugh my ass off because he walked in like he was a G and he left with the L. And I'm like, yeah, there you go. Fucking do your hair again. But the other part of this that I love is tonight.
That's the shocker.
You've got what's that? Aaron Rodgers playing like shit. That's why the light went off there. Aaron Rodgers was garbage. Yeah. That he was useless without Devontae Adams. That was like the most painfully effing thing I saw on week 1 of the NFL. Yeah.
But he wasn't, though. His receivers were useless.
Dropped the ball like crazy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yesterday. But no Devontae Adams.
Dean, I'm going to come out and come back in. I'm going to.
Or you glicking? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and click. Go ahead. Get out of here, kid. Get out of here and come back. But
Dean, I got to pull the pin.
Okay, you got to go. Talk to you soon.
Are you gonna? I'll let you finish up with Ray.
All right, man.
My phone is going crazy. I got to deal with some house stuff.
You go deal with some house stuff. But tonight, don't forget, this was my whole point. We're going to talk Seahawks Broncos tonight. Russell Wilson versus his old team. Got to watch that. That's the Monday nighter.
I will be watching that, and we'll chat about that tomorrow. Hey, good show today. Thanks for having me. Great.
Talk to you soon.
Okay.
All right, man. Lachlan Cross, 957 Cruise FM at Edmonton is where you can find him. That is at Lachlan Cross on Twitter. And 957cruisefm.ca if you want to listen to a great rock and roll radio show. That rock and roll radio show goes every single weekday morning on 957 Cruise FM in Edmonton. He is the host of the show called The Locker Room. Make sure you get it and go and listen as we wait for Ray to come back to talk about futures, excitement, whether the Bills can run the table. I don't know if he's coming back. It doesn't matter. All I know is what I saw week 1 in the NFL was everybody's survivor pool go down. Like every single person. All I saw yesterday was, my fucking survivor pool. The survivor pool. No good. I already that sucks. Everybody. Never take part in a survivor pool. You can't predict the NFL like you can predict other sports. You just can't. Listen to everything Ray says at DPN_Ray. Follow him today. If you're betting, we've got some stuff coming very soon that will help you make some money at the NFL. Here's my advice. Stay away from placing a bet for the first 3 weeks, maybe 4. It's such a shit show. No one knows everybody off-season moves. This team is you're listening to news reports. These guys are going to be great. These guys, no one knows until they play. Like nobody. So do yourself a favor. Just kind of wait it out. If you're going to bet, listen to a guy like Ray. I don't even know if he's there right now. You there, Ray?
I'm here.
Can't hear you, but I can't see you, but I can hear you. I was just telling everybody. Oh, he's gone. We'll clam the show. Have a great. Oh, hang on. He's back. You there still? You there?
Can you hear me?
You can hear you. Can't see you. Don't worry about it, though.
Okay. So I had to switch over to my phone. But you can hear me?
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I can hear you fine. Yeah.
What a shit show.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll catch up another time.
All right.
Talk to you soon. We're going to end the show. We can do that. We don't have any hard times. Anyway, thanks to DPN Ray for coming on, talking a little bit of football before we lost his connection. Tough connection at work there. Ray tried to do double duty. It's always tough. Everybody's got a day job, right? Everybody. But we appreciate him coming on. Take the Broncos tonight and the points. There's my advice. Don't mess around. Just do it. Seriously. Don't take the Patriots. Pretty sure. Don't take the Seahawks. Pretty sure Geno Smith is their quarterback option. Don't do it. Stay away. Stay as far, depending on the spread. Double digits? Nah, I still even take double digits. Fucking stay. Whatever you do not bet tonight's game. And if you do, go to Pinnacle Sports Betting. They're really good. Anyway, have a great day, everybody. Appreciate you being here. Don't forget, we are everywhere. You can find us. Google us, DeanBlundell.com. You can sign up for our newsletter there and subscribe. Hit smash subscribe. Whatever they say. Smash the subscribe button. Hit it. Subscribe anywhere we are, including YouTube. Dean Blundell Show on YouTube. Twitch. Dean Blundell TV on Twitch. And you can get us on anywhere you get your fine Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, Google Podcasts, etc. Just put it in the old Google machine. Dean Blundell Show on the podcast. We will be there. And we'll be back here tomorrow as well. Have a great day, everybody. I want to thank our partners and friends at kivlaw.ca. If you're looking for a great defense attorney, people that'll take care of you, walk you through the legal process if you're in it. You don't want to handle this stuff on your own. And there is no one better and very few people I trust in the legal profession than my friends at kivlaw.ca. Super simple. If you have a problem that you're battling right now and you don't want to give up your freedom and you want to make sure that you give yourself every opportunity for success in getting through that legal issue, Robert at kivlaw.ca. Robert at kivlaw.ca. He fights for you. He really does. Not for what you think, because you don't understand the law, but he's a lawyer and he does. So he makes sure that he takes care of his people. And one of the greatest human beings you'll ever meet, guaranteed. He's an absolute comfort to anybody going through a legal issue. If you have one, Robert at kivlaw.ca. Send him an email today. Tell him I said hi and tell him you need help. He will help you. That's what he does. Kivlaw.ca. Check them out today. Again, Robert at kivlaw.ca. EdsFineImports.com. New Gitch. He's got a fresh round of Gitch. Just showed up. He's got a whole bunch of Gitch. Boxer briefs, pouch in the front. He's got a ton of different colors. Super supportive. You will not miss with these things. They're all hits, no misses. Dinger after dinger. Doesn't matter what color you get. They've got the pouch in the front, super breathable, very soft material, and the most supportive Gitch you can buy. That's why he called them Gitch. They're Canadian made, and you can buy them today if you go to GITCH3. That is your promo code. Go to edsfineimports.com. Slap that promo code in there when you check out. You buy 3 or more pairs of Gitch. He'll send you a free pair for free. And he's got a massive online store for clothing, shoes, clothing for men and boys. He's got blazers. He's got hats, suits, John Varvatos, 34 Heritage jeans. He's got it all. Go to edsfineimports.com and check him out today. And, of course, Easy Auto Financial. For anybody looking to get into a vehicle, what you need to do is get in touch with my friends at Easy Auto Financial. Tough to find financing these days. Really is. Very difficult. And if you want financing and don't want to pay for it, and you don't want to go through the hassle of explaining your credit rating, these are good people. Good credit, bad credit, doesn't matter. The bottom line is that you can get a car and get free financing from our friends at easyautofinancial.ca, and there's no obligation, so check them out today. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks so much for being part of the show. Really appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow right here around 3 o'clock. And don't forget to subscribe to everything. Head to our website as well. Check out all these things that we've discussed at deanblundell.com. Have a great day. See you tomorrow. I think 3. Yeah, no, we're at 3 o'clock. I just checked. See you at 3 tomorrow. Bye.